They catch 4 packs. Popping out the truck, they don't even get the plate.
Then why don't you tell your white buddies to block for Rev better? Because they have not blocked for him worth a plug nickel, and you know it.
The flash of that gun in my head, man. That white light. It was like that light, man, was saying, you're dead.
They gotta fight for life. Kill or be killed, people dying there. Your daddy died in the ring.
You don't understand? Don't ever hold out on me. You got that?
He got the name Wood, though, because people couldn't pronounce Sherwin.
But real talk, Sherwin ain't cool enough. I love it now, but coming up,
You should have loved
please.
it then. Because people call you Sherman and Sherwood, and you ain't
I
never
hated it. As soon as Wood happened, I was like, I'm keeping that. I'm keeping that.
Right now.
What if the man who gave us one of television's most iconic drug lords almost never became an actor at all? What if his journey from Chicago's dangerous streets to Hollywood's elite required defying death, rejecting Yale, and making choices that would haunt him forever?
I got a scholarship to NIU, Northern Illinois University, and then I continued it for the same reason. I just didn't want to be back in the hood, you know what I'm saying? So I continued further my education by auditioning. I got into Yale, I got into NYU, and I chose NYU.
This is the untold story of Sherwin David Wood Harris. And before we're done, you'll discover the shocking career sacrifice that cost him millions, and the devastating moment when Terrence Howard beat him to death with a prosthetic leg on national television.
I guess I'm barely holding the gun, so he knocked at my hand. That's already some wild. And then we struggling. Take his leg off, take the leg off and beat me to death.
Born on October 17, 1969, in Chicago's West Side, Wood Harris entered a world where survival wasn't guaranteed. His parents, Maddie, a seamstress, and John Henry, a bus driver, gave him and his older brother Steve a fighting chance in one of America's most dangerous neighborhoods.
Being with my dad, how many interviews have you done where the guy's like, yo, so my dad, so my mother and father. So the biggest thing about me and my brother probably is that I wouldn't say we had a nuclear family.
But here's what nobody tells you. Wood got his nickname because kids couldn't pronounce Sherwin. That simple act of renaming would become prophetic. Wood Harris would spend his entire career becoming different people. At age 12, Wood discovered something that would save his life: art. While other kids were getting pulled into Chicago's gang culture, Wood was locked in his room, drawing and painting. But there was another escape: basketball.
Also, I'm a basketball player at the time, so it used to be, I don't know if it's like that anymore, but if you were seen to have some kind of athletic talent, cats who was in that world, the drugs or gangs and stuff, they would give you a pass and be like, no. So I don't even know if it's like that so much, but back then I was in that world like that.
Wood played for St. Joseph High School, the same school featured in Hoop Dreams. Standing at 6 feet 3 inches, he had the height and the skill. He could have gone pro. But then his older brother Steve left Chicago for college, and when Wood visited him that weekend, everything changed. If I don't get out this neighborhood, I'm probably not gonna be all right, Wood would later admit.
I ended up, the neighborhood was really bad. My brother caused me to moving into school. I went and visited his school for a weekend, and I was like, okay, well, if I don't get out this neighborhood, I'm probably not gonna be all right. You know, it ain't too many choices.
At 13, 14, 15, those are the years when Chicago decides your fate. Wood was running out of time. He auditioned for Northern Illinois University and earned a scholarship. Then he did something almost nobody does. He auditioned for both Yale and NYU's graduate acting program. Both accepted him. He chose NYU. Why? I'm a rapper, Wood explained.
And I'm a rapper. You gotta remember, like I was rapping with Tupac most of the time. So my fondest memory.
Oh, so you guys were doing a little cypher?
Oh, we rapped. We rapped. You know, just cypher style rapping.
Yeah.
I wanted to be here on the mic. He chose New York over New Haven because he couldn't imagine his hip-hop dreams surviving in Connecticut. At NYU, Wood joined a class with future stars like Michael Hall, Dexter, and Daniel Day Kim, Lost. But Wood was different. He was incorrigible. He would come to class late every single day. He'd take his desk, line it up against the wall opposite the teacher, crawl underneath it, and literally sleep through class. The administration kicked him out. But then something remarkable happened. The student body president noticed that the department head had posted Wood's probation information, including personal details, on a public board for everyone to see. He rallied the students. They petitioned, they fought, and Wood Harris was reinstated. From that moment on, Wood Harris has never had a job outside of entertainment. Not one. No waiting tables. No side hustles. His first professional audition? Above the Rim. The year was 1993. Wood was a freshman in grad school when his brother Steve helped him get the audition. The film would star Dwayne Martin and a young rapper named Tupac Shakur, who had only done one movie, Juice. Wood landed the role of Motaw, and suddenly he was acting opposite one of hip-hop's most electric personalities. But here's what Wood remembers most. Tupac was already covered in tattoos. The thug life across his stomach, the cross on his back, Nefertiti, and AK-47. But there's something darker nobody talks about. By the time Above the Rim finished filming, Tupac had been shot for the first time. The end of the movie? That's not Tupac in some of those scenes. It's a body double. They had to reshoot the entire ending because Tupac was recovering from gunshot wounds. Wood watched his co-star nearly die. 3 years later, Tupac would be gone forever. After Above the Rim, Wood went back to NYU to finish his degree.
Well, after I did Above the Rim, I went back to school because I was a freshman. Remember, the school allowed me to take the semester off and just come back so I could finish the program without. So I still needed that. I still needed the comfort of a structure around me.
And then came the role that would change everything: Julius Big Jew Campbell in Remember the Titans, alongside Denzel Washington. For Wood, this was surreal. But here's the part that reveals Wood's genius. During the famous crying scene where Julius learns his teammate is paralyzed, Wood had a specific method. Standing behind the door before the take, he'd think about his father, taking himself to an emotional breaking point. When the director yelled, "Action!" Wood was already teetering on tears, but he had to hold them back and only release when the moment was right.
Now I gotta act like I'm not gonna cry. Or now I gotta hold back emotion. You dig? I got myself to this point where it's like, I feel this way. They say action, but I can't come in with that energy.
Denzel Washington gave him advice: don't make a lot of sound when you cry. Wood listened, nodded, and completely ignored it.
Denzel says to me, don't make a lot of sound when you cry, right? Because I was sniffling this. He said, don't sniffle and stuff like that.
I did not take what my favorite actor's advice, Wood admitted, because I believe in myself. That's the moment Wood Harris knew he was a great actor, when he trusted his instincts over Denzel Washington's direction.
Do you know what I'm saying? I just ignored that advice, and I was thinking like, I can't go with that. So it just made me feel like, I believe in myself, okay, as the artist. I know I'm coming with something that's unique. Even the method that I told you is unique.
The same year, Wood portrayed Jimi Hendrix in Showtime's Hendrix, learning to play guitar left-handed and meeting Hendrix's family. He even started smoking weed daily to understand Hendrix's creative process. To this day, he can still play guitar left-handed. But the role that would define Wood Harris's career was still ahead. And when it came, it would put him in a series that Time magazine would call one of the greatest TV shows of all time. Yet somehow he'd never received the recognition he deserved. In 2002, Wood Harris became Avon Barksdale, the drug kingpin at the center of HBO's The Wire. The character was loosely based on Nathan Barksdale, a real Baltimore drug dealer. Wood commuted from New York to Baltimore, sometimes riding with Idris Elba, who played Stringer Bell. "It didn't feel like magic was happening, bro," Wood admitted. "You couldn't tell. I was putting in work, though." But here's the scandal. The Wire received only 2 Emmy nominations in 5 seasons. None of the actors, not Wood, not Idris, not Wendell Pierce, not Michael K. Williams, received individual nominations. The show that would later be called the greatest TV drama of all time was almost entirely ignored by the industry while it was on the air. Wood believes he knows why. What happened to The Wire? "Oh, that's Baltimore," he said pointedly. He believes the show's focus on a predominantly black city made it too uncomfortable for Hollywood to celebrate. But while The Wire was building its legendary status, Wood was creating another cultural landmark. In 2002, the same year The Wire premiered, Wood starred in Paid in Full, a crime film about 3 Harlem drug dealers in the 1980s. Wood played Ace, based on real-life dealer AZ Faison. His co-stars were Mekhi Phifer and rapper Cam'ron. The film was produced by Damon Dash, who was at the height of his Rockefeller Records power. But that power created problems. Harvey Weinstein and Damon Dash clashed during production, and their conflict hurt the film's box office potential. But Paid in Full didn't need Hollywood's approval. It became a hood classic, a cultural touchstone. Wood's image as Ace has been tattooed on countless people, printed on t-shirts, rugs, even barber capes. The most famous scene? When Mekhi Phifer's character Rico is killed, and Wood's Ace breaks down in the car. "Me and Mekhi, we were nice in that scene," Wood admits. "We were high. And Mekhi's tears? Those tears were real." But there's another scene people don't talk about, when Ace confronts a guy who disrespects him. The script said Cam'ron should punch him. Cameron didn't just punch him. He yanked him out of the car, slammed him to the ground, and beat him for real. The guy had a real busted lip, Wood recalled. They kept it in the movie. The guy ran down the street. After The Wire and Paid in Full, Wood's career continued with roles in Ant-Man 2015.
You got a visitor.
Who?
Your lawyer.
My lawyer.
Creed 2015.
These boys come in here, this how they survive. They gotta fight for life. Kill or be killed, people dying there. Your daddy died in the ring.
Blade Runner 2049 2017.
She's been buried for 30 years. Bones all dismantled, fully cleaned, meticulously laid to rest.
She.
Cause of death, Coco?
and Dread 2012.
You was shit out of luck when you ran into the Mama clan, but don't feel too bad. You know, I've seen a lot of judges in my time, and you're just not cut out for this.
He played Brooke Payne in BET's The New Edition Story 2017.
Came to the ghetto, found some poor black kids that you can make some money off of, and now you don't know what the hell you're doing with them. It's all right, I'm here for my boys. Yeah, I'm gonna make it strong again.
A performance so accurate that when the real Brooke Payne visited the set, people did double takes. Wood currently stars as Pat and stars as BMF 2021 to 2025.
You gotta do whatever it is that you gotta do to protect your, cause the vultures and the wolves coming.
And he's in talks with 50 Cent about a superhero project set in Chicago. But here's what nobody tells you. Despite decades of iconic roles, Wood Harris's net worth is estimated at only $500,000 as of 2025. How is that possible? How does an actor who defined a generation have less wealth than most influencers? Wood has spoken openly about this. "We worship wealth," he said. Red bottoms Louis Vuitton, we worship it deep in our culture, but worship of it is what hurts us. He believes Black Americans spend $2 to $3 trillion in their communities, but fail to consolidate economic power if we ever come together, but they don't. And Wood sees the consequences daily. Young people chasing Instagram fame, drill music glorifying violence, a generation without mentors. There's no public enemy, Wood said. There's no conscious hip-hop. Wood's philosophy is clear. Wealth for wealth's sake is meaningless. I don't want $1 billion for myself, he said. My movies have made billions. But being a billionaire, I would do something different with the money. What would he do? Build up K-Town, Chicago, where he's from. Put computers in schools. Create opportunities. Wood owns the property he grew up in, a small row house in one of Chicago's most dangerous neighborhoods. When he visits, the block will come out, he said. Wood is also a family man. He married Rebecca Harris in 2001, and they have 2 children together. He rarely discusses his personal life publicly, preferring to let his work speak. Recently, Wood has ventured into cannabis entrepreneurship, developing a brand called Weed Harris. But even as Wood builds new ventures, his legacy in Hollywood is complicated. He's respected, beloved by fans, yet somehow undervalued by the industry. He's never been nominated for an Emmy. He's never been on a magazine cover. Why? Wood believes it's because he's never played the game. I don't want to go to all the events, he said. It's cool, but it just ain't for me. He also refuses to compromise his artistic vision. During Empire, Wood played Damon Cross, a villain. In the final episode, Wood's character was supposed to fight Terrence Howard's character over a gun, but Terrence changed the script. Instead of a struggle, Terrence's character would take off his prosthetic leg and beat Wood to death with it. Wood was furious. He went to the director, "You cannot do this, dog." But Terrence was #1 on the call sheet. He had creative control. They filmed it Terrence's way. "That's a get-got moment," Wood admitted. "You got beat to death with a prosthetic leg." These moments, the lack of Emmy nominations, the changed scripts, the net worth that doesn't match the cultural impact, they reveal something important. Wood Harris has never sold out. And maybe that's why his net worth is $500,000 instead of $50 million. But it's also why his work will outlive everyone who got richer by compromising. Wood's advice for young people is simple. Be persistent and determined. That gets you further than talent. He wants to reach kids in their formative years, before the streets take hold. Put people like Marshawn Lynch and myself in schools, he said. Show kids there are paths beyond sports. So why isn't Wood Harris a household name? Why isn't he worth $50 million? Maybe because Wood Harris doesn't need Hollywood's approval. He has the love of the people who matter, the fans who tattoo Ace on their bodies, the kids in Chicago who see him as proof that escape is possible. "I'm blessed, bro," Wood said simply. "I have a long career. I really am fortunate." And maybe that's the real lesson. Success isn't measured in net worth or award shows. It's measured in impact, in legacy, in the way people remember you when you're gone. Wood Harris has created indelible characters, told important stories, and stayed true to himself in an industry that demands compromise. He is, in every sense, a warrior artist, and his story isn't over yet.